is the 77 WABC minicast.
Well, Monday. What's new? Well, we got problems all over the place, and one of the most common sense guys I know, we have with us the former speaker, Newt Gingrich, and maybe we could solve a few problems on a Monday. Mr. Speaker, what say you today?
Well, I've really been struck with both Mondami's proposals to tax everything and the California wealth tax, that when Trump in the State of the Union said, you people are crazy, he was right. If Mondami thinks people are going to stay and pay a whole range of taxes, including the highest death tax in the world, and including taxing landlords, including taxing people who are hardworking and successful, I think he is totally out of touch with reality and will significantly cripple New York, because people who are productive, people who are entrepreneurs, they're not going to sit around and have their pocket picked by a bunch of politicians who've never achieved anything. And that's exactly what's going on. You have a political class on the left that's created no jobs, has developed no wealth, has no standing, and their idea of how they are going to get to do things is they're going to take your money. So the new model on the left is, if you work hard, we should take your money. If you're an entrepreneur, we should take your money. If you've saved your whole life, we should take your money. And I think that we're going to see a real tax rebellion coming out of all this. And the number of blue states, New York is a good example, Illinois, California, that I think are suicidal. The things they're doing are literally going to make them smaller and smaller, less and less desirable, and have more and more successful people leave.
Well, Newt, the power to tax is the power to destroy. And right now, because a certain class of people, let's say the billionaires or the higher net worth individuals, don't have enough votes. And what they're doing is they're going against a certain class of people. America was founded on religious freedom. Have religion any way you want as long as it doesn't affect anybody else. Well, the power to tax is the power to destroy. Isn't that a prejudice against a certain group?
Oh, absolutely. And I think if you listen to the language of people like Mondami or AOC, it's a language really of envy, a language of hatred, a language that says basically, you should feel guilty that you worked hard your whole life, and you should feel like you owe us your money. That's really what they're saying. You owe us, the politicians, your money. And I think if you put it that way, I think it'll be a very interesting case to take to the Supreme Court, because some of these taxes are so clearly class-based, and are so clearly an effort to redistribute wealth and literally basically say, if you go out and you're successful, you have no right to defend yourself, you have no right to keep your own money. We used to say that a man's home was his castle. Well, if they have the ability to tax your castle out from under you, then you have no ability to have freedom in the sense that the founding fathers meant.
That's not what our country is based on. Our country is based on equal opportunities for all. And if you come here and you work 80 hours a week, you are being prejudiced against versus the people that don't want to work.
Right, and I was very struck. They used to be on the left when I taught a course one time on renewing American civilization, and we talked about the work ethic. And people on the left would say, you shouldn't go to McDonald's and take a hamburger flipping job. It's beneath your dignity. They're not going to pay you enough. You'll be trapped in poverty. Well, when Trump went and gave out French fries just before the election, I did a little research. 40 million people have worked at McDonald's, including Jeff Bezos. And they learned, for example, to show up, to actually take care of the customer. And in all too many of our schools, 70% is considered a C. Well, when you show up at a place like McDonald's or Burger King or whatever, the very first day, they actually expect you to be 100%. And Calista, as you know, is the ambassador to Switzerland, and I've gone with her several times now to look at apprenticeship programs. And the way the Swiss and Liechtenstein programs work, these young people are doing real work, sometimes as early as 14, and going to school part-time, but they're learning from day one when they walk in that factory or they walk in that business. You have to be at 100%. You can't be at 70%.
Absolutely correct. On a Monday, anything else you want to talk about, Newt?
Yeah, look, I think we need to recognize that we are in a huge fight in the Middle East, and all these people who want to find some excuse to have a truce or whatever, I just try to remind them, starting with the Ayatollah Khomeini in 1979, who called us the Great Satan, who authorized seizing the American embassy illegally, holding 66 diplomats for 444 days as hostages illegally, authorized killing the Marines in Lebanon. 240 Marines were killed. You go down the list. These people think they've been at war with us since 1979, and our State Department has said every year since 1984 that this is the leading sponsor of terrorism in the world. And I just remind people, if we don't profoundly change this regime, sooner or later you're going to end up with a missile with a nuclear weapon, and their goal is going to be to use it on an American city. And so
you're right.
I'm totally for what the president's doing.
Calista is the ambassador to Switzerland now.
Switzerland
so you see, you see all the Europeans. Why? I mean, and now we find out who our friends are and their friends are not. Why are the Europeans being so? Who's going to defend them? Who's going to defend them? Putin or the United States of America?
Right. Well, I think there's a big fraction of European elitists who resent the United States. I just saw a study that the European fines of the big American internet companies like Microsoft or Amazon, their fines are larger than all of the European taxes.
Unbelievable.
And so they're basically trying to live off of us. And because they're Europeans and they think of themselves as culturally superior to us, they resent it when we tell them the truth.
Newt Gingrich, thank you so much for your wisdom on a Monday, and I hope by next weekend things are getting better. I guess happy St. Patrick's Day tomorrow, and God bless America and God bless our allies.